Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Alright, so in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the intimate relationships, traumas and transformation, all connected with having the sign of Sagittarius ruling the 8th house within the natal birth chart. Now this video is directed towards those of you who have Sagittarius ruling your 8th house. However, it may also resonate for those of you who have even Jupiter within your 8th house as well. Now, if you actually are a Sagittarius, meaning your sun sign is in Sagittarius, this video may be for you, but it also may not be for you. So it's just really important to see which sign is ruling your 8th house to see how that aligns. So for example, if you have the sign of Libra ruling your 8th house, go to the Libra video. Or if you have the sign of Aquarius ruling your 8th house, then you go to the Aquarius video. I will be making a video for every single sign throughout this series. However, before we do get started, if you would like to know more information all about the 8th house within your natal birth chart, as well as your Scorpio house and your Pluto sign and house within your chart, then I have created a Scorpio season/archetype ebook. So what I am going to do is I'm going to provide a link to that ebook in the description box below so that you can pick up your copy today. Alright, so with all those introductions out of the way, Sagittarius ruling the 8th house. Let's do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by looking at your approach towards your intimate relationships, followed by bringing some attention towards your possible traumatic emotional blockages. And then we're going to finish up by addressing your transformation here, Sagittarius. So really looking at how you can evolve and grow and rise up from those hypothetical phoenix ashes that are really connected with the Minerva version or symbol of Pluto within astrology. Okay, so firstly, looking at your approach towards your intimate relationships here, Sagittarius. And the thing to keep in mind with your sign and also wherever Jupiter is placed is that wherever these two components are placed within the chart, well, it's going to seek more. It's all about expansion after all with Jupiter and Sagittarius, suggesting that when it comes to your intimate relationships, you may be a little bit gluttonous, a little bit greedy, and quite overindulgent. You may seek more sex, more intimacy. You may be that type of intimate partner who's really quite needy in that way. And I don't mean needy in the way of Cancer. I mean needy in the sense of you really feel like you need sex in order to feel something, in order for that sexual intimate bond to really bring you meaning and bring you some sort of like happiness. Then you look to this intimate relationship and you just really seek to have more of it. But it's almost like there's no limits to a point with Jupiter, suggesting that you may be this type of intimate partner who really expects to gain a lot from your intimate relationships, but they maybe cannot deliver to you what you exactly want. And so possibly because of this, you may subconsciously seek then different types of intimacy with maybe a array of different people. There can be variety in that way. So maybe you'll get something that you're seeking from one intimate partner, but then something else that you're seeking from a different intimate partner. But trying to find one specific intimate partner who has all of the things that you really want and you're searching for, well, that may be a bit of a challenge here. Now, that's not to say that you'll never settle down or find somebody. It's just that maybe you need to go on an exploration. You need to discover what exactly is out there before you do find that specific person. Or it could actually just be that you continue to be like that throughout your life. But there is this openness that you possess towards your intimate relationships, suggesting here that you can be quite open-minded to discovering you know, different types of intimacy to explore with different types of people. So for example, this could be that you may meet different travelers, you know, so someone from a specific country and then a different person from another country. Maybe you enjoy the pleasures and the sex that you get from traveling abroad and being with someone who's really very different to you in that way, and maybe you see that as an exciting thing, as a real thrill. Could even be that you end up living abroad somewhere and you meet your intimate partner whilst you're abroad, and then actually you come together and you share joint finances together and everything else. However, there can also be this recklessness that comes with this energy as well. Suggesting that you could pick up some unexpected sexually transmitted diseases along the way, maybe because of how reckless and careless you were or can be. I feel with this placement in a different way to Sagittarius on the 5th house. So someone with Sagittarius ruling the 5th house may be more prone to have those romantic flings and then not really talk to those people again. Whereas Sagittarius in the 8th house may suggest, yes, hooking up sexually with somebody else, but still then keeping that connection. So maybe through a phone, you know, of course through the internet, the world that we live in today. So keeping that connection alive, and then also having that connection for maybe a later stage, suggesting Sagittarius that you may pick up different intimate partners who you can keep in different areas of the world and then go and travel to them and see them, you know, this type of way. So it keeps things open. It keeps that engagement also connected as well through the fact that you can still reconnect with those people, and even possibly through the media you could then maybe build also intimately with them through your phone, you know, so getting to know that person then a little bit more, or a few different people a little bit more. And so suggesting that you could really build on these different intimate relationships with different people around the world. There can be implications that arise with this, of course, because if, for example, you are intimate with somebody and they don't know about the other people that you're connected with and you're sort of being intimate with, well then you're gonna fall into some serious complications if they do find out, and maybe that's not what they signed up for. However, if it is Sagittarius that you decide that you want to be intimately involved with one specific person, then that intimate relationship, you may really want that bond that you have to consist of honesty, truth. You want it to be something that's strongly meaningful to you. It could even be that until that specific intimate relationship is meaningful, then that is when you're constantly exploring. You're constantly trying to discover, well, what is out there? What does exist out there? And then when you find that person that brings you that meaning, then maybe you're more willing to settle down, or maybe you're more willing to actually build on something, grow on something, expand on something with this specific person. Another thing as well, of course, is laughter, you know, so being able to joke around and be humorous with your partner, that may be really, really important to you. However, it could even be where humor, joking is maybe used as a sort of subconscious tactic to hurt you or hurt the other person. And what I mean by this is that, you know how some people can say, oh yeah, I was just joking, even though there can be backhanded insults or kind of rude, mean comments in it. But they cover it up with the whole, oh, you can't take a joke, what's wrong with you? So it could possibly be where there's manipulative tactics used through the joking attitude. So it's good to be aware of these things. Also, it's good to be aware of being quite condescending as well within the relationship, you know, sort of talking down to each other. Maybe one partner thinks that they know so much, that they are the know-it-all, and so you must listen to them or they must listen to you. And it can even lead into this very preachy attitude of, I'm so much more morally superior than you, I know exactly what I'm talking about. That could also lead into the joint accounts and everything, where maybe that person then feels more in control because they are maybe better or more knowing when it comes to how to manage the finances. Maybe this could even be a situation where someone kind of sees what they can actually gain from you financially and sort of use you in a way because they see what they can get from your pocket. Okay, so looking at money, looking at how someone can manipulate you using money. Another thing as well is that you could also be the one who possibly sees the opportunity within the intimate relationship, and you just see it as something that you can gain and just use it as a way for that moment to then get some sort of gain from it, and then that pushes you to somewhere else later down the line. So what I'm trying to get to here is be careful of one or both parties using each other for the financial prosperity, using each other for the opportunity and for the growth in that way, because that can be quite an ugly thing. That can bring a lot of heartache, and especially if things get really, really tough, you know. So looking at urgency and crisis, in those moments, if they just sort of have this attitude of, well, you know, someone died in your family, my partner is actually going through a really hard traumatic experience right now, they need my help. Actually, do you know what? I'm not good with the emotional stuff, I'm just gonna leave, like I'm just gonna shoot. So you kind of see in those moments, I think, when things do get really, really hard in relationships, you see in those moments who really is there for you. So even on that note, it could be suggested that the intimate partner uses their own moral high ground as a way to gain some sort of control or power or dominance over you. Another thing to be aware of is, well, when it comes to religion, could be suggested that your intimate partner uses their religious beliefs as a way to dominate and control you. Or it could be that, for example, maybe they have a certain religious belief and you have a different one to them. They may think that their religious beliefs are much more powerful and much more stronger than yours, and so there can be a clash. There may be like arguments or fighting over religion or what you believe in within the intimate relationship. Or it could even be that they actually start to adopt your religious beliefs and use that as a sort of tactic to then make you believe that they really do want to form an intimate connection with you, but they're actually doing this as a way to try to control and dominate you. Another thing could be that they maybe try to force their own religious beliefs onto you as a way to subconsciously indoctrinate you to their way of life. So these are things to be aware of, you know, looking at belief systems as a form of control and manipulation when it comes to the 8th house. Another thing, of course, with the 8th house is that it's a house of extremes. So in terms of money, for example, the joint accounts, there may be this extreme fluctuation in how you manage the joint accounts together. Maybe you both are really very grandiose with it and you're very exaggerative and you want to live the high life. And so you may be a little bit reckless and careless with money in that way, because by doing that, then by being all about like bigger, 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 more, 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 then if there comes that crash, you know, there's the fall, then you may find yourselves just being at each other's throats, getting really, really upset with each other because there's not enough money. You know, you may have these experiences within your intimate relationships where it's just from that extreme to the next, where you do feel like there's a lot of success. You know, this could even be emotionally, you know, so emotionally you feel like, yes, we're really doing good. It's like there's a lot of hope in this and you feel great about it. But then there's also the opposite extreme, you know, there's the I can't stand you, get away from me, you're really annoying me, I want to be in my own space, let me just have the freedom to do what I want to do. And that could even suggest, you know, from that freedom, from the just being so annoyed at each other, one person going off and just partying and just losing themselves and not giving a care in the world. And then that could involve cheating and disrespect and lies and dishonesty and the complete opposite of what you actually want. So there can be this fluctuation within this house, so it's good to be aware of these things. But you know, this does lead us on to the traumas, because what we're noticing here, Sagittarius, is that there may actually be traumas in connection with how you were guided whenever you were younger when it comes to sex and intimacy. Because it could be suggested here that you weren't really guided as a child. So for example, maybe your father was always working abroad. Maybe he was the type of man who would travel for business. He would travel as a way to provide for you and your family. So perhaps as your mother would be more at the home base, you would, you know, maybe chat with your mother, communicate with your mother, but the father was away. Father was off elsewhere. So from that, you may have looked at intimacy, connection in that regard from your parents as something that was more fleeting, right? It was just something that, yeah, okay, you come together for a while and then you're off again. Perhaps then filtering into your intimate relationships, suggesting that you subconsciously align yourself with intimate partners in this same way. Or you may have an attitude towards intimacy where it's more of, okay, well, we'll explore for a little while, we'll be together for a little while, but we'll not get too attached, we'll not get too connected here. So therefore suggesting that you weren't really taught how to approach intimacy in a way where it was really about that bond, that close bond. And it is very interesting because if you have Sagittarius ruling your 8th house, it may be, okay, maybe that you have Capricorn then ruling your 9th house, which is the house next, and the 9th house is your house. It's the house that Sagittarius rules. So to have Capricorn in the 9th house suggests that you had a father figure within your life who would travel a lot. However, another possibility could be that you experienced some sort of traumas in association with alcoholism or addiction growing up. Maybe you saw how your parents would handle emotional turbulences or crisis and urgency. They would handle it by turning to alcohol, or they would handle it by trying to just get away, trying to seek just other things elsewhere as a way to help them feel good. Basically, those around you would just run away from the emotional stuff. They would just try to get away from it. So suggesting that you may be this type of person, Sagittarius, who runs away from your traumas. Maybe it could be that you've experienced a traumatic event whenever you were younger with a teacher. You know, maybe a teacher abused you, whether that be sexually, emotionally, mentally. There was a traumatic experience from a teacher. But you then may have subconsciously just run away from it and not wanting to address it. But even still, if you've maybe experienced traumas with foreigners, you know, or traumas from a trip, traveling abroad as a possibility, again, you run away from those traumas. You don't want to look at them. You may have this attitude towards your traumas that it's like, well, no, I don't want to look at those things because they don't make me feel good. They don't make me feel happy. They don't make me feel joyful. So you may instead project all those things onto other people through the, you know, backhanded comments, through the jokes, you know, ha ha ha, it's so funny. But what is it really that you're truly feeling on the inside? It could even be here that you've been lied to, you know, there's been dishonesty whenever you were younger. There was constant lies as a way to manipulate. And you just you didn't know how to handle that. You weren't really taught, you weren't really guided on how to handle these things. Alright, so leading on to the transformation, Sagittarius, because this transformation, it can bring a lot of really good things into your life. After all, Sagittarius and Jupiter are all about fortune and blessings, suggesting that there can be a lot of fortune that you gain from your intimate relationships, especially if you can learn how to explore the depths of your intimate partner. So really taking the time to get to know them, to understand them, to question them, to really learn from that partner and learn from how you can grow and expand together. So instead of always searching for the next best thing, suggesting that you could actually lose a really good thing because of that attitude, instead of always doing that, to more, well, turn towards that intimate relationship and see how you can grow together, see how you can reach new heights of awareness together. And who knows, you know, this can be a situation where maybe you just fall into an intimate relationship out of nowhere. It's unexpected. Maybe it feels like fate. Maybe it feels like destiny. But also when it comes to yourself, Sagittarius, because there can be a tendency of you denying certain emotions. So especially when it comes to, for example, joy and happiness, maybe you think that it's short-lived, that it's not going to last long anyway. And so that's why you don't attach yourself or get too involved with people. You always keep that, like, that little bit of room for having an out, so to speak. So maybe it's good for you to accept that, yeah, you can feel joy and happiness with someone that is a long-lasting thing, and you could land yourself into a certain intimate relationship where there is a lot of give and take, there's truth, there's honesty. Maybe you land yourself into a relationship where you are aligned with the same beliefs as the other person and no one's using beliefs as a way to manipulate and control. Maybe you can find a relationship where you're able to explore more of each other and you're actually able to feel that sense of being content, really content with that individual. And maybe you can expand each other's horizons, so to speak, by exploring different sex positions, sex moves to bring into the bedroom as a way to really explore each other's sexual desires. And also, you can really find someone where it's not about who is much more morally superior, but rather you both connect in terms of your morals. You both understand each other. You get where the other is coming from. And maybe from being able to form a connection, and especially in terms of your own beliefs, especially when it comes to like what you both really want, you know, knowing what you want out of the relationship. If you can find that intimate bond with someone and you connect really well, then maybe there will be a less likelihood of you wanting to run away. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video on the intimate relationships, traumas, and transformation, all connected with having the sign of Sagittarius ruling the 8th house within the natal birth chart. But also it may just have resonated for those of you with Jupiter in the 8th house. Now, if you do have Sagittarius ruling your 8th house, or even Jupiter in the 8th house to an extent, then please let me know what you thought of the video in the comment section down below. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then go right ahead and click that subscribe button. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!